talk to my girls, all right? And if you're a guy who supports women's rights, keep listening. If you're not, go throw shit around at the gym. Okay, with that out of the way, ladies, of all the people that are under attack, it's us. We are the ones under the most direct, don't worry, I always bring you the damn receipts. We are under attack. I don't give a shit what your political affiliation, your socioeconomic bracket, your religious affiliation, doesn't matter. If you guys do, I'm going to play a clip for you in a second, okay? And when I heard this, I had to struggle so hard to keep my lunch down, okay? Because this man who is a retired general, he said this on a national, with his full chest. You know what? Let me not belabor the point. I'm gonna play this, and then I'm gonna tell you like 5 or 10 other things that are happening in the background, because I just want to make sure that we're not missing the point. Because while they're stripping away, our freedom of speech and all of the rest of that, I want to make sure that us girls, okay, ladies, girls, whatever you want to call, that we understand the big picture, and that the target at the end of the line, that's us.
Some discussion about changes in other policies. We have enormous numbers of women in the armed forces right now. That's really a serious problem for us. Something nearing 15 to 20% of the force. There's a desire to reduce that to about 5%. I've heard that number kicked around, which is probably reasonable. There may be some announcement in connection with affirmative action, which is now really no longer, strictly speaking, legal, since the Supreme Court largely overturned it, but we continue to use it to advance non-white people, women and other non-Europeans.
Vile, just revolting. All right, and when you couple that with a video that I saw the other day, which, when I say this shit made my blood boil, all right? And it was a girl who, I believe the state was Arkansas, okay? It's in my reposts, all right? She works in Arkansas with a DV, a domestic violence shelter, all right? And she was basically saying that they had cut the funding, that there were this is ridiculous. There were only 30 domestic violence shelters across all of Arkansas, and that they had basically cut the funding so that 25 of them were no longer going to be running, that she had just lost her job along with all the other people at all those other places. Now, I don't know, look, I don't know how long you've been watching this channel. So if you have been watching it for a hot minute, I don't really talk about this on here, but I might talk about it in the future. That was a part of my divorce situation, okay? So it's something that's very near and dear to my heart. But let me tell you what I know. When DV resources to get women out of dangerous situations with their children, or, sometimes they don't have kids, whatever. When those resources go away, what happens is that the number of women killed go up. Okay, so let's look at the big picture that's being painted here, right? They went after DEI. So protections at work, that's if you can get a job, you don't have protection. You can be sexually harassed, never promoted, not paid fairly. They don't give a shit. Okay, now they want to take women out of the military. All right, then they're going to go after public education. So, God forbid you go and get a degree. We don't want that. We don't want you to be financially independent. We can't have that. All right, and I don't want to miss the point, guys, that a lot of these rights about, husbands used to be able to, beat their wives, RAPE their wives, all right? All of that. I think it was 1993 before they outlawed the husband exemption. So it was 1993 in this country before it was illegal for spouses to grape their wives. Think about that. It wasn't really that long ago. We're going after birth control. They already overturned Roe v. Wade. They're attacking your ability to get an education, which of course attacks your ability to be financially independent. It is now my understanding that states are abandoning the best interest of the child and now looking to more 50-50 custody splits, which is disastrous for a million reasons that I won't get into in this video. We're pursuing legislation where pregnant women cannot get divorced, and on whole, they are trying to make it more difficult to get divorced. So let me tell you, if I were in my 20s, I'm not. I've already been married, divorced, already have my kids, whatever. But let me tell you what, my legs would be like this if I were in my childbearing years. When I tell you they cut the aid for DV, and why do I keep focusing on that? Because here's the thing. When you take women and you put them in situations, right, where they can't get a decent education, so they can't get a decent job. And then, of course, they feel like the only other option is marriage, right? So then they get married, then they have children, and then they have currently, but probably not for long, laws that protect them from their spouse, all right? And then I wouldn't be surprised to see those laws get rolled back, okay? And then worse than that, now you have the DV resources that these women would use to extricate themselves and their children from these bad situations, and they're gone. Half of them just got... I can't even begin to tell you how gravely concerned I am for women and children in this country in this moment. Because if you force women into a situation where they basically have to get married just for survival, right? So that you know, you guys, you men can turn us into baby machines, all right? And then they can do whatever the fuck they want. And then if you try to leave, well, good luck, baby, because now there's no resources to help you. This is shaping up to be a real bad situation. So this is my warning, as like, consider me like your older internet aunt, okay? If you're my age, share this with any women who are still in their reproductive years. You women better think long and hard about who you're sleeping with, who you're dating, who you're marrying, okay? All of that stuff, you better prioritize getting whatever skill set you can get. Nursing is a good one. Everybody, they always need nurses, okay? By whatever means necessary. And you better do it quickly, because they are coming for women. And I'm not saying this to be hyperbolic, okay? I never get on here and just like say shit unsubstantiated, all right? This is based on hundreds of hours of research that I'm tracking all of this stuff in the background. I don't want to bore you guys with the details. You can trust me. If you've been watching this channel long enough, you know I don't say shit that I can't back up, okay? This isn't my opinion. This shit is happening. All right. We women are under attack. I don't want to make any bones about it. I want to make sure everybody understands it. You need to move through this earth, through this life, through this season in America you need to be careful. You don't need to be walking down the street by yourself. If you get raped right now, you're shit out of luck, honey. You are shit out of luck. All right. You're going to be carrying that baby. You're going to be get all those things. All right. I'm not trying to get into like a super long discussion about specifics. My point is, it's kind of partial rant, partial I just can't believe that this is the state of, that my daughter is going to have fewer rights than I enjoyed. This is so vile. I have ever since I successfully somehow managed to navigate that situation away from my ex-husband with my children, who was a Marine, by the way. So I don't want because y'all love, you MAGA idiots, love to come to me in the comments talking about, well, we should choose better. Okay, he was a Marine pilot. Get over yourself. Shitbags come in all forms, all right? I feel like we need to start setting up something like you know how like there was like an underground railroad in slavery? I feel like we need to start setting up a kind of situation like that for women and children, because this is about to get very dark.